The elk test was developed in Sweden, where swerving to avoid moose is part of everyday driving. The eye avoids the obstacle and regains its composure nicely. Lord only knows how my double-decker will perform this 40 miles per hour emergency manoeuvre.
Obviously I completely trust my new prototype, which is why I'm going to wear a helmet, a neck brace and a tracksuit top. Why am I doing this?
Wish me luck!
Here we go, here comes an elk.
Incredibly, my creation took it all in its stride, sort of. So we thought we'd up the ante and go even faster.
Oh, I need the toilet quite badly. Oh, I can't quite. Oh,
are you alright?
Hello. Yeah, I'm alright. I need the toilet, I tell you.
And expert opinion is divided as to what will happen. Which of the following scenarios do you think's most likely? Perhaps the 4x4's extra weight will see it steamroller through the Espace. Or perhaps the Espace's more modern design will shrug off the attack of the 4x4. Or might the taller Discovery roll over on impact? The Myra winch is ready to pull the cars together. So where do you think your family would be safest? Now's the time to find out. We're on a mission to find out whether a family is guaranteed to be safer in a 4x4 in a crash. Now it's time for the analysis. On first impressions, both cars seem to have suffered horrendous damage, but if you look more closely at the structures, differences begin to emerge. Here on the Espace, this beam here is connected to a crash member. As you can see on the passenger side, it's still relatively intact, but if we move over onto the driver's side, we see it's crushed, absorbing the energy of the impact. Not only has it absorbed the energy, it's also sent it through the A-pillar and along the sills, which has deflected it away from the passenger compartment, which has stayed relatively intact. So it looks as though the driver has had room to survive. But if you look at the Discovery, it's behaved very differently. The chassis on the Discovery is actually stiffer than the Espace. Here's the main chassis member here. But all that hasn't actually helped the occupants inside the car. All it's done is deflect the Espace into the softer bits of the Discovery's bodywork, with the result that the driver has much less room, and it looks as though his chances of survival would be pretty grim, really. Many older 4x4s share this stiff chassis design and might dissipate the crash forces in a similar way. But are the consequences of, say, misjudging a motorway exit and accidentally hitting one of these barriers as horrific as you might imagine? Well, we've joined highway engineers Mott MacDonald and Balfour Beattie, who are going to do an experiment to find out. We've got a reconstruction of a typical motorway junction complete with a signpost. There are two crash barriers which meet at a point. The idea is they stop you hitting the signpost if something goes wrong. And we've got one of our famous remote control cars that will drive towards the barrier at 70 miles an hour to simulate what could happen should your attention wander while exiting the junction. Will the ramped ends cushion the blow, gently lifting the car, or will the result be much, much more Hollywood? A direct hit, and it was as spectacular as my worst fears. So it looks like the car's hit the concrete and then the barrier, but rather than protecting you against the sign, what the barrier's done is actually just flip the car straight up into the sign. And on hitting the ground, the car's thrown over violently, making this a particularly unpleasant way to crash. The consequences will be even worse with a bridge parapet rather than a sign behind the barrier. According to a survey in Warwickshire, every motorway junction with ramped ends can expect an injury or death from a crash like this every 5 years or so.
You don't want your airbag to go off as you hit a curb before the wall. It's a decision the airbag system has to make in a split second. If it gets it wrong and deploys at the wrong moment, you won't be protected.
This is test number 1, the ramp test. The situation is the Corsa, that you can see a very, very long way over there, will come along at 60 kilometers an hour, take off here, in the air, will be in the air, still in the air, still in the air, and they reckon it'll land about here. I'm not sure how scientific this is. And I don't want to die.
This was it, and I was beginning to have second thoughts.
This is not normal. It's ill behaviour. Ill behaviour. Blimey. That was, well, he said that was funny. I'm not sure how funny that was. It's actually quite violent. We're driving a Corsa, this time a shiny black one, into a huge gravel trap at 80 kilometers per hour. Now, besides ruining the paintwork, this, hopefully, will prove that the airbag won't be deployed during high-frequency vibrations. Optional extra, riot shield, perfect for those Saturday nights in Hackney.
Although the Corsa is being subjected to a vicious surface, there should be no need for an airbag.
Hallo, ik ben Johnny Smith. Wie geht's? Deary me. Oh, I think we hurt the cameraman. They're knocking all the stones out from the transmission and the braking system in a really scientific way by driving backwards violently and then driving forwards violently. It's like automotive rape. Okay, test number 3. Take a good look at the front of this car, because it's the last time you'll see it without any panel damage. Because the Germans are apparently brilliant at hitting wild boar. And here's our boar. She's probably made out of other boars.
It weighs 50 kilos, and we're going to hit it head-on at 50 miles an hour. Ouch.
I can see the boar. Full bore at the boar. Oh dear. I think it's dead.
Delilah's deceased. Our car took some damage, but not enough to need an airbag, so this test is a pass.
You see, we're going to be driving at 30 kilometers per hour into this huge gravel mound. That is 12 tons. Okay, here it is. Down. I Deary me. It didn't hurt that much, but you know, I wouldn't want to hit that at 50 kilometres or 60 kilometres. And it's a comforting thought to think that these tests are being carried out so that your airbag doesn't go off until you really need it.